Dylan and Dan have been investigating the curious case of these four individuals, known to the public as the Chicago Four. The reason we began this investigation on the Chicago Four was due to their strange behavior. It made us take a closer look at what we knew to be true. Recognize this photo? That's right, it's the Chicago Fire. Notice anything you didn't notice before? Coincidence? I think not. The same thing has been happening in many other events in history. It only begs to wonder, who, what, when are the Chicago Four? Before Bear Lake started his investigation on the Chicago Four, this man, John Schwaift, had groundbreaking information on the Four. In a special report, we encounter John Schwaift to discover why he went silent.
We're outside the house of Mr. Schwaift. Mr. Schwaift has been investigating the Four until they discovered that he was investigating them. We're here right now to try to reveal the information that Mr. Schwaift discovered. He stopped the investigation due to him being scared for his life. Maybe he'll come outside. Here he is, Mr. Schwaift. Mr. Schwaift's here. Mr. Schwaift, what can you tell me about the Four?
Stay away.
What can you tell me about the Four, Mr. Schwaift?
Keep away from him.
Is it true that they were at the mansion last week?
Stay away.
Mr. Schwaift, what kinds of interactions have you had with the Four? Mr. Schwaift, Mr. Schwaift, I demand to know.
Stay away from him.
Mr. Schwaift, did you uncover the X-Files? Mr. Schwaift, are you just gonna keep running from the truth? This is bigger than you!
Bodyguards, lies, avoiding the media. What was Mr. Schwaift hiding? What was he so afraid of? Our investigation took us deeper, and we decided to speak with those who had previously known the Chicago Four.
What do you know about the Chicago Four? What, the Four have been...
No.
But the Four have been reported to...
No. The Four are bad news.
So could you tell us about the first time that you saw the Chicago Four?
No, I don't want to do this.
Sorry. Is everything all right? Are you?
No, I can't. I can't do this.
Maybe if you just take a seat.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, seriously. I can't do this.
What was everyone so afraid of? Finally, through the use of our witness protection program, we were able to speak with someone who was actually acquainted with the Chicago Four.
You been with the Chicago Four before?
I have. I had the privilege of being their counselor during the school attack.
How do you respond to the rumors about their involvement in the Chicago Fire?
I'm not surprised, honestly. They're a bunch of hooligans. You gotta watch out for them.
Sadly, this man, after this interview, whose identity we cannot disclose for confidential reasons, but I'll give you a hint, it starts with D and ends in annual Deforge, was never seen or heard from again.
So, where do you think the Four get their power from?
Oh man, together it's like they feed off each other and grows into something beyond what my mind can really fathom.
Like, I heard of them in stories and stuff, but I guess I never really took it to heart. It started making me I just couldn't sleep at night. I just couldn't. And then I came to camp and I realized it was real. They were just more, I guess, than just kind of scary, fear, I guess. They really showed what fear itself really was, I guess.
After a bunch of interviews with people who were too afraid to say anything of substance, we decided to take matters into our own hand and interview the Four ourselves.
From none of the above.
None?
Well, we were in the lake.
Okay.
All right. We're going to tomorrow.
Cool.
How long have you been on this earth?
15 years? That can't be right. We decided to take this to the experts, to a scientist, Dr. Dane Neal, to see what he had to say about the Chicago Four.
So Dr. Daniel, could you tell us the first time you heard about the Chicago Four?
The first time I heard about the Chicago Four, I was about 14. It was my father was in the hospital, and he told me the reason he was there was the Chicago 4 attacked him. It was a horrible event, and since that day I've spent my whole life looking for the Chicago 4. Yeah.
Is there anything you can tell us relating to their origin? There have been rumors about...
Yep. So, as you know, in ancient Egypt, they had more than 4 pyramids, and we think that at least one of those each was for one of the 4 Chicago 4s.
A disturbing reality indeed. Could they be as old as the pyramids? Dr. Daniel then elaborated on the horrors that the Chicago 4 could have brought to their own home, Chicago.
The Chicago 4 are known for being from Chicago, and that's where the fire happened. And we think that they at least had matches, the Chicago 4, so that might have been part of the issue. We can't know for certain, but we theorize at least one of them had matches at one point.
The Chicago Fire, an event as true as history. But it doesn't stop there. Dr. Daniel continued to explain that they could have caused many other tragedies in the history of the world.
Honestly, they could be doing anything. Have you ever heard of the London Bridge? It fell down a few times. That was all the Chicago 4. Each of them did it once. And actually, there was a flood once, and that was in Bermuda, I think. They created a triangle of sorts there. Lots of planes are crashing.
With all of Dr. Daniel's expertise and research, he could only come but to one explanation.
Aliens.
And after an extensive investigation at Bear Lake Bible Camp, I guess we will never know who, what, or when was the Chicago 4. And now that I think about it, where?
Where to go?